Good evening. Welcome to the Tyler Henderson Show, episode 13. We're very excited for today. We've got a big episode. First, what do we think about the lighting? Is there any way that we could get like an Israeli or Jewish like fundraiser going on? Can we get some Jewish donors, maybe some Israeli donors, and get me in a studio? Okay, I hear they pay you well to say what they want you to say. For example, we're going to be talking about Goyim Rogan tonight. Weary Gentile Rogan, the Jew Rogan experience. I'm very excited to talk about that one. We're also going to be talking about, we're going to give updates all about the war in Iran and why it's never going to end, because Jared Kushner is making so much money from this war going on. Meanwhile, you and me are getting totally bent over and just, you know what I'm trying to say there? We're getting taken advantage of, you might say. And it's never going to end because it just keeps filling Jared Kushner's pockets. We're going to be talking in relation why that has relation to Jared Kushner. He is making so much money off this war, it'll never end. And he's the one being sent over to have peace negotiations. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're excited to get into it. Going to be a great episode. We want to remind you to like, subscribe, leave a comment. And watch the videos. What's going on? Why are we failing? Why does nobody care what I have to say anymore? Why does no one care? We went from getting like 200-300 views a video, and now we're struggling to get like 10. What's going on there? Just kidding. We're actually still doing well, I think. But we only got like 60 views in like 4 days. That is pitiful. It really does not help feed my ego. Anyway, so starting out, do you just want to talk about Joe Rogan starting out, Dexon? So go ahead and pull up. Everybody is tripping balls on Goyim Rogan, on the Jew Rogan experience, because he was why was he at the Oval Office in the first place? He is a YouTuber. He's a podcaster. Why does he need to be in the Oval Office? Wow. I'm not even that like caught up with the situation. We'll just kind of learn as we go, and I'll spitball. But I feel like this is just, you know, we're going to build the episode. We're going to go here, then Iran, and then we're going to give you the rundown on Kushner. And you want to stay for that because you're going to figure out how we are being totally and you're going to have to bleep that. You're going to have to bleep the word but we're being by Kushner. Bad. Jared Kushner is Donald Trump's son-in-law. He's married to Ivanka Trump. He is a Jew, and he is a pretty big fundraiser for Israel, basically. That is basically what he is. He is he's compromised and should not be in America's foreign policy. He does not got our best interests in mind. Anyway, that's enough ranting. Throw up the Jew Rogan experience.
Joe, and it's a little bit more liberal than that's okay. I have a lot of friends that are liberal. But Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work. We all respect Joe, and it's a little bit.
So I'm not even sure why he's there, other than I know they were like reviewing psychedelics, like pot. I know they were like talking about pot and PTSD for veterans and stuff. Like how weed can be helpful to help veterans with PTSD, I guess. And I don't even... Weed's legal. Or is he talking about shrooms? That's the only other psychedelic that I can think of is... those are the big two, I feel like, is weed and shrooms, right? Acid's not a psychedelic, right? Is it? It might be. I just see he just put in Grok, and Grok spit him out a 5-paragraph essay. No. They're reviewing certain psychedelic drugs, but I don't... Here's the thing. Everybody is mad at Joe Rogan. Why are you mad now? I've never really been a fan of Joe Rogan, but I don't have anything against him. I've never been a fan of Joe Rogan just because here's my thing with Joe Rogan is I think he kind of like he's like a fence setter kind of, and he says mild things and then acts like it's really, really edgy what he just said. And that's fine. Everybody has their thing on TV. It's just not my style to watch that kind of stuff. I mean, I watched some people that, like, he had Matthew McConaughey. I watched that. He had Trump on. I watched that. He had Vance on, and I watched that. He had Aaron Rodgers on, and I watched that. Like, he's got some cool people on. Yeah, and Dexton, he watches the Elon Musk ones. I don't know. Joe Rogan, he's never been someone that I've really paid attention to because I feel like he's just a mouthpiece. How do you get that big and not kind of, bend a little bit? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like he's sort of a puppet mouthpiece. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why people are so mad about him. I guess the critics say that he is still backing the administration when they've done nothing. And I would agree. They haven't done anything they promised. They've actually done the opposite of what they promised. But I just don't see the big outrage. I feel like you're making nothing into something when you're talking about this. But anyway, that's enough of that goy slop. That's literally what that is. That's goy slop. That is not even relevant. It's a distraction is what that is. I feel there's no way people are actually outraged about that. That's got to be fake, right? The big news. The ceasefire runs out on Tuesday, I think. Monday or Tuesday, and I want to say Tuesday. I'm 99% sure that it's on Tuesday that it runs out. So, yesterday, pretty big news. The Strait was open. The Strait, Iran declared the Strait totally open for all commercial traffic and stuff. Well, yesterday, slam it shut in the morning, and 2 tankers got hit going through. Oh, it's on Wednesday. Oh, my bad. The ceasefire runs out on Wednesday, okay? Well, anyway, 2 tankers get hit in the Strait of Hormuz, and this is because of the blockade that's been going on in the Strait of Hormuz. What is the goal of this blockade? To totally strangle Iran economically until they're like, okay, fine, you know what? We will bend to all of your terms. We will not have a nuke. We'll have no proxies. We'll have no ballistic missiles. We will be a defenseless country. We'll be a defenseless nation. We'll be your little, wish I could curse. Anyway, so the goal is to strangle Iran economically until they're like, whatever, we agree. And in this, there's no nuclear program, there's no proxies, there's no ballistic missiles, there's restrictions on their navy, there's restrictions on their army, everything you can think of to just leave them totally defenseless. That's never going to happen. Okay, so now, before yesterday, the Strait had been declared open and that all commercial vessels could pass through unbothered, whatever. Well, yesterday, Iran shuts the Strait down again, tightens it down, and they fire rockets, I think, at 2 tankers going through. Now, this is a total violation of the ceasefire, and Trump said so himself. We're going to throw that up. I think he can better explain. Now, you shouldn't take you should take all this with a grain of salt, obviously. All right. Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at French ships and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, I think is how you say that. Islamabad, Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. They're helping us without knowing. And they are the ones that lose with the closed passage. $500 million a day. The United States loses nothing. In fact, many ships are already headed right now to the U.S., Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up. Compliments of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal. Not true. And I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast. They'll come down easy. And if they don't make a deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. It's time for the killing machine to end. President Donald J. Trump. You know what? In 2 weeks, this show is over. In 2 weeks, I'll never make another show again. Now, in 2 weeks, when you see me again, just understand that I'm just being a nice guy and I'm just going to keep on delivering this bomb-ass show week after week after week after week. But in 2 weeks, it's over. 2 weeks, you'll never see another Tyler Henderson Show episode. That's basically what he's doing. He's edging Iran. He's like, all right, you've got this many weeks, you've got this many days, you've got this many hours, and then that hour comes and that hour passes, and then there's some BS excuse on why he couldn't do what he said he was going to do. This is the biggest game of chicken I've ever seen in my life. The staring contest of Hormuz. Like, we don't use it, but we're so concerned with it. We don't use the Strait of Hormuz, but we got to do everything in our power to get it open. It's just the biggest game of chicken you've ever seen in your life. All of this for what? Okay, we go to war with Iran, and arguably, they're going to be in a better position when this is over. If they hold control over that strait when this is over, they're going to be doing better than they were, because right now with it closed, they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day. They get it opened up and they get sanctions lifted and they control that strait. That's hundreds of millions of dollars a day that they're making that they weren't making prior because they had sanctions on them. But in this deal, the U.S. wants no nuclear program. Great. I agree with that. Wants restrictions on their ballistic missile program. Don't really agree with that. I like that, Dexon. They want restrictions on their army, restrictions on their navy, restrictions on their air force. They want all this stuff to render Iran totally defenseless. And you know what Iran wants? They want reparations for damages caused to their nation. They want sanctions lifted. I don't even know that they wanted control of the Strait of Hormuz. They're basically asking for the bare minimum. They want Israel and America to pay for what they broke, and they want guarantees that the U.S. and Israel will never attack them again. Tell me who's outrageous here. Tell me who the outrageous side is here. You have Jared Kushner being lead negotiator, or he was lead negotiator, who's literally raking in billions and billions and billions of dollars from this conflict going on. Son, $6.2 billion from this. And I'm going to break it down for you. We're going to get right into it. And I've got a pretty good one wrote up for you. So, Kushner isn't some selfless peace envoy. He's the founder of Affinity Partners, his private equity firm. What does it do? It raises billions from rich investors, mostly foreign governments, then dumps it into cash, then turns that into cash and gives it to tech, real estate, buyouts, and growth companies. Kushner gets paid from the management fees every single year. The entire pile, win or lose, no performance required. Affinity exploded to $6.2 billion in assets, with 99% coming from Gulf states, especially Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, plus UAE, plus Qatar, plus MBS, overruled his own advisors to drop $2 billion into Kushner's fund right after Trump's first term. While Kushner was in the room negotiating with Iran right before the bombs started flying, his team was out hustling another $5 billion or more from the same Saudi and Emirati, however you say that. What are they? Emirati. There's some foreign group. Anyway, Qatari backers. Here's the scam. Affinity has already pocketed over $157 million in fees, including $87 to $110 million from Saudi Arabia alone, with basically zero returns delivered to the investors. Those fees go straight into Kushner's pocket year after year. Here's the scam. Affinity pocketed over $157 million in fees, $87 to $110 million of that from Saudi Arabia alone, with basically zero returns delivered to the investors. Those fees go straight into Kushner's pocket year after year. The more money he manages, the more money he gets. And right now, with the Strait of Hormuz blocked, ships getting seized, and oil markets jumping, his biggest backers, the Saudi oil monarchy, pushing hard for escalation against Iran. They're sitting pretty right now. Tensions keep leverage high. High leverage keeps cash flowing to Affinity. Congress is in on it too. Raskin, Wyden, Garcia, they're all investigating this exact conflict. Even Iran's foreign minister called it out. Kushner's fundraising while pretending to negotiate. A fair deal? No wonder the talks collapsed. Bottom line, follow the money. I'm not telling you to believe in some greater conspiracy. I'm just telling you, this is not a public service. This is blatant, greedy conflict of interest on steroids. Wake up. This war is not going to end anytime soon. The longer that this goes on, the more money that Jared Kushner makes. The more money that Jared Kushner makes, the more money that Donald Trump makes. How does that happen? Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, married. Jared Kushner, a lot of money. Ivanka Trump, happy. Ivanka Trump, happy. Donald Trump, happy. This is a conflict of interest 10 times over. Not only is Trump's daughter literally married to this guy, Saudi Arabia, literally, his number one funder is one of the biggest enemies other than Israel to Iran. Saudi Arabia has been pushing for conflict with Iran for years. Since the first Trump term. This isn't a new deal. This has been going on. This has been brewing. And it's not going to go away. No. Now, they are racking up the dollars. They are racking up millions, billions of dollars. $6.2 billion alone since it started. And this isn't some conspiracy theory. You can look this up. There's ongoing investigations into Kushner. He's the peace envoy right now. He was the White House. What was he in the first term? I think he was the overseer of the White House or something like that. He's some bigwig, and he's got a lot to do with our foreign policy. Why? This is someone, Jared Kushner's dad, best friends with Bibi Netanyahu. Whenever Jared Kushner was a child, Bibi Netanyahu came to their house. Benjamin Netanyahu came to their house and slept in Jared Kushner's bed. When he came to America for visits, he would sleep in Jared Kushner's bed. Son, this is not someone who has America first in their interests. This is not someone who has yours and mine interests in their. This is not. They don't care. While you and me are getting at the pump, he is just filling his wallet up, over and over and over. And so this war is not easy. This is not going to stop. This is going to continue on as it's continued on since the 70s. This has always been going on, but this is just the first major escalation that you and me have seen. Anyway, biggest game of chicken, the staring contest of Hormuz. Gotta love it. I don't know, that I feel like that was kind of quick, kind of weak. What do you think, Dexon? It was good? Okay, that's right. You know it was. Oh yeah, we made a new profile picture. It's pretty fire. Wow, I'm just now seeing it for the first time. I am effing with that. That is tough. That is tough. That right there is tough. We only got 2 comments. This is pitiful. Yeah, I guess so. All right, that suit though. Yeah, it was a suit. You look like Trump in that suit, but actually tell the truth. Also, I lost a lot of respect for Trump the second he posted that photo. Matthew 12:31 NIV. Yeah. I swear I'm a Christian, but I don't know. I don't know the verses like that, bro. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. The picture where he was like God, right? And it's not cool. It's definitely not cool that he did that. There is something for everybody to be mad about. And especially with Trump. He does a lot. He's kind of a rage baiter. I don't know that he posted that with the intention of like being blasphemous, to be honest. So, I mean, it's not right that he did it, obviously. I'm not defending him, but I'm saying I don't know. I wasn't completely outraged whenever I saw it because I didn't really realize until I started reading comments and X posts about it, but who knows? Sorry, we have a habit of not locking the door. My sister likes to barge in and interrupt because she hates my guts. She's 4. She's mean. But anyway, so we're reading comments. I appreciate the comments, even though there are few these days. It seems we are slimming up. Our popularity is on the decline. We got to get that back up. We got to build hype. So, you know, like, subscribe, comment, share the show, build hype. Be like, hey, this guy is on fire, son. Because he is. I mean, he is, obviously. His name is Tyler Henderson. He has that flair. He has that charisma. He's got that hit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but you got to understand, it's kind of hard to do a talk show when there's nothing to talk about. You have the biggest game of chicken. You have the wildest geopolitical war since ever. And it just gets boring sometimes. How does that happen? How does it get boring? Because Jared Kushner's making so much money, he just forgets to give us updates, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you for watching. We will do another show on Wednesday. Hopefully something big happens. Hopefully there's a big escalation and we can give... I mean, this was a killer show. This one was. Hopefully we can give an even bigger killer one on Wednesday when this ceasefire is over. Hopefully it's straight back to just gunfire and bombs blowing up. That would be cool. Not really, obviously. We want the war to end, obviously. I'm a little scared, though. What is going to happen when the war ends? Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about when the war ends? Am I cooked? Is the show really going to be over in 2 weeks? Or am I going to pull a Trump and continue chugging along? But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Toodles.